All right. Good evening, everybody. It is Sunday fun day. Hope everyone's having a good weekend. So far, uh, pretty good weekend over here on our end. Nice and relaxing. Did a little few things here and there, and went out and about. So pretty good weekend overall. Been watching some football. I know the Dallas Cowboys game and the 49ers game is going on right now. Last I checked, 49ers was winning 16-9. I think that's still the case. I think it just entered the fourth quarter. So, yeah, that's going to be pretty interesting. I honestly don't see uh, anyone beating Philly, to be honest with you. Philly looked good last night, but, we'll see. I think that the Bengals game and the against Patrick Mahomes. That'll be a pretty good matchup. But all right, welcome everybody. Discord, hello everybody. Everybody on social media. Hope everyone's having a good weekend. Staying cozy. I know here it's just been raining. It's been nasty all day, so that's always fun. But all right, so with that being said, let's kind of jump into things. Try to keep things under an hour for everybody. So we are now full-fledged underway into earnings season. We got Microsoft and Tesla on deck this week, but plenty of other things going on. Most, just a big full pack fun week ahead. Monday, not too much going on Monday. We have Logitech. Uh, I think that's pretty much the only thing that might be exciting. That used to be a meme name. We'll see if it does anything this week. But Logitech, yeah, they report their earnings tomorrow afternoon. It is expected to decline. Tuesday is when the fun pretty much starts. You have the S&P Manufacturing PMI for January. You have the Richmond Fed Services, and this is when we start getting into the bigger earnings. Now, before the bell, you got 3M, you got GE, you got Halliburton, you got Johnson and Johnson, Lockheed Martin, and Verizon. General Electric, that might be a pretty interesting one since this is their first earnings report since they did their spinoff with their healthcare. So I think that one should be pretty interesting. Lockheed Martin, that one could be a good one because we know during 2022, Lockheed Martin pretty much withstood a lot of the punches that rolled in through the overall market. So I think Lockheed Martin could be a pretty interesting one, especially with all the government contracts that has been pushing through. I know Penny is probably going to be watching that one pretty closely since that is a competitor to what he does. But yeah, those are going to be on my radar. And then most notably, Microsoft has their earnings after the bell on Tuesday. Now they do have a expected move. We'll kind of get into this. They do have an expected move about 10 to 12 points. If you're kind of looking at building a position off of that, if you're an options guy and want to risk through earnings, I don't know why you would, but there you go. Wednesday, before the bell, you have earnings from ASML. You got Boeing, FCX, and AT&T there. ASML, this is Europe's, they are Europe's largest chip maker. So that one could be a pretty interesting one. I'm keeping a very close eye on semiconductor names, chip makers. We've already had report from TSM. ASML, like I said, Europe's biggest chip maker. We'll see what their numbers look like. And then, of course, Wednesday after the bell, that is the big one. Well, a lot of eyes are going to be on that one. That is Tesla. Wall Street is expecting Tesla to have some sort of earnings growth, which is kind of interesting because we know that Tesla has had some issues with all the COVID situations in China with all the lockdowns and finally, of course, they are opening back up. But Tesla, that should be pretty interesting in itself. We'll kind of get a good look at that. Thursday, big day on Thursday, no doubt about that. It is slap full of economic data. You have GDP. The expectation is 2.6% versus 3.2%. let's see, or the expectation said 2.6%. The prior month was 3.2%. You also have durable good orders, you have jobless claims, and you also have Q4 core PCE. Now, the core PCE, this is what the Fed is mostly looking at in regards to their data readings for their interest rate decision. So this one is going to be a pretty big day on Thursday. Like I said, all of these things come in right before the bell. I can't stress that enough. You also have new home sales data on Thursday as well. So a lot of stuff coming in on Thursday. If you don't even want to trade that day, so be it. Just mind your P's and Q's if you are trading that day. It will be a market moving day, no doubt about that. Then, of course, we have plenty of more uh, earnings that day. You have AAL, you have BX, you have Comcast, you have Southwest Airlines, you have STM, you also have Nucor, and you have MBLY. So yeah, Thursday's just mark it on your calendar, just crazy day. Friday, we also have the December PCE price index. And then also at 10 o'clock, we have the Michigan sentiment with an inflation based reading for January. So, yeah, big fun economic packed data along with earnings sprinkled in. And we are getting more and more into the nitty gritty as far as these earnings reports goes. So definitely be on your toes as far as all those readings goes. And let's kind of jump into things. So let's go over here to our charts. I got the S&P SPY pulled up here, and we've made pretty good progress here. I know, when you see it, you're gonna be like, well, what? Not much progress, but yeah, everything under the surface actually looks pretty good here. So we had this big drawdown. What was that on Wednesday? On pretty decent volume here, and this was the SPY hasn't had two day closes above its daily 200 all year long. We've been wrestling with the daily 200 and its year to date trend line all year long. It's obviously we've been in a downward trend here, series of lower highs and lower lows. All right. So we finally get up to this level. We bonk our head on it and we flush to the downside on pretty decent volume at that too. And then Thursday, it was a lot of back and forth. We had this little spinner candle form up, and then on Friday we absolutely blasted off. Mainly, Netflix released their earnings, and tech just rolled with it, and that came with pretty good volume in itself. So for the most part, bulls have held together quite well. Sure, we are right back at this daily 200. We're right back at the year to date trend line. So yeah, the stage is set once again, and we're coming at this crossroads yet again, where we are intertwined with earnings data and a lot of economic data. So yeah, pretty interesting spot here. Overall, I think things are still mostly in favor for the bulls, but we also need to keep a close eye on this weekly chart because, as I said, this is still technically a downward trend, and it's not going to that narrative doesn't change until we break above this 410 zone and we print a higher high. So that's going to be our key level here for the next few sessions for the week, really, to see if can the bulls maintain their situation here and push above not only the 400 level. The 400 level, well, let's say we have a few in between here. So we have the 397 level. That's going to be pretty crucial in itself. And then you have uh, the 400 level. So once you get above 397, then 400. Once you get above 400, then 410. So we want to continue to maintain the if this, then that mentality approach to everything. Of course, the VIX got a little spunky, but to be honest with you, it didn't get that high. I mean, what it hit 22? That's not a whole lot of fear out there. That's just some technical movement there. Maybe an oversold bonus. Now the VIX, the volatility of volatility, VVIX. Now that does have an interesting. Oh, what's the term I'm thinking? It does have a. can't think of the word of it. If it comes back in my mind, I'll come back to it. But uh, so we're at this interesting crossroads where things can either pop off or we can just roll over and collapse. It's pretty much at a do or die situation, or a not really do or die, now or never situation for the overall market. So we have our upside targets for the if this and that situation. But as far as the downward side, you really don't want to see, especially if you are a market bull, you don't really want to see the SPY break down below this low here at about 387. If we do break below these lows and get a daily close above it, I think things can flush and revisit these lows down here at about 380, 378. So if you're a market bull, you don't want that. Of course, if you're a market bear, you want to, you want to strive for this. But like I said, the Bulls do have a little bit more going for them than what they've had in the past. And I am going to bring up my SPX chart just so I can pull this up. If you are a uh, trader with the SPX, I've had this uh, intended move of about 4180 on my chart for quite some time, and as things have held up, even when we were in this consolidation period for a few weeks, we finally got that move up. We held pullback for the most part, and now we're trying to break on through. So 4180 does seem to be a, a, a viable level of interest to the overall upside. So we'll see if that comes to fruition, of course. But with all the signals that we have out there, we just don't want to take them all for granted, just because we need to understand that we do have the backdrop of lower highs and lower lows, especially on the weekly. So, like I said, that scenario doesn't change until we break above 400 and most notably 410. So, SPY definitely needs to get above its daily 200, close above the year to date trend line, and have a daily close above that 400 level. The put to call ratio is extremely elevated still. It is still heated. So, there are a ton of shorts out there, and that could just add fuel to the fire. So if we do get these technical breakouts and these technical closes above these key levels, then that will continuously force shorts to close out of their positions and have some forced buying. So the short squeeze could continue to happen, especially if we get some good economic data and we get some pretty decent earnings reports out of some of these big guys. And one of the things is too, we saw that Microsoft, they announced layoffs. They also got downgraded, but they constantly moved on higher. So I mean, how the bullishness is definitely there, especially when you're putting those out on the table. We've just kind of held, and for Microsoft, like I said, they have earnings Tuesday after the bell. They do have a estimated move of about 10 to 12 points. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I like Microsoft here, especially if you can get a good daily close above the daily 50 at about 241, above 245. Morgan asked if I'm still, am I still in Square? Absolutely. Yeah. Square looks fantastic as far as things go. You had a nice daily close above the daily 200. Uh, nice consolidation period here that we've been in. And yeah, still looking for that upside target of 90. I'm no means stopped out of that. So still holding shares and all that kind of good stuff in block. And also with Bitcoin rallying, we could just segue into this. Bitcoin, congratulations to any crypto longs. It's not really my cup of tea. It's not my forte. I'd rather still see some changes here, maybe some regulations and all that kind of good stuff. So this isn't my forte. Of course, we got crypto guys who are all over this. They've been all over it since these lows here. Nice consolidation break here of 18 was that 18650. We've been watching this. I've had these levels marked forever. You rejected here. You finally got the daily close above it, and with a good strong follow through consolidation, and here you are now, Bitcoin at the daily 200 at about that 2275. Now, as far as our upward targets there above the daily 200, I think there is a good shot that Bitcoin could very well come all the way up and push, really towards this 30 mark. So, we'll see. Of course, if you are long Bitcoin, the best I can tell you to do now is to continuously raise your stops. Want your you should be pretty darn green at this point, especially if you played this breakout of 18,650. You should be doing a-okay. And what you don't want to happen is you don't want that green trade to go red. And if it does go red, you did not practice good risk management there. So continue to raise those stops, maybe sell some along the way. Do what you need to do to remain green. Or if you're aggressive, continue to add in and average up. But there's several ways of things that you can do there. But yeah, Bitcoin, congrats to really any crypto guys that were long there. Let's see, and that does translate, into guys like Coins at this like nice, really interesting level that it's trying to consolidate and break above this 55 level. Below 50, it gets a little hairy. Yeah, move to about 69. The daily 200 seems reasonable there overall, but I'm not going to be messing with coin too much. I don't want to step in front of uh, I don't want to short coin at this juncture. I would like to short it, but I don't think it's a good spot to short. If anything, probably just look to get long here for that move up towards that 69 to even, you could very well say, argue about that 80 mark. So yeah, we'll see if the rally in Bitcoin can continue to move. Now, if tech does have a good week, then of course crypto can also follow suit. So we definitely want to pay attention to that. But yeah, like I said, going back to these indices, with everything going on, yeah, when we had this move to the downside, it was almost like we had this like uh-oh moment, especially if you're in a market bull and we're like, okay, maybe we do need to flip hats and go back to the bear side. But they did. The market held up pretty nicely. You had this good volume push back up to the daily 200, and now we're just kind of seeing if we can uh get a good follow through move. And Google had probably one of its best days that it's had, you know, really the best day that it's had all year, uh, and in quite a while, actually. You had this nice gap and go move, and I know Chris was in this position uh, on Thursday, because Thursday it was outperforming just about everybody, and you had that gap and go move Friday, and really you have plenty of leg room here to about that 100 mark, and you'll kind of see this in the communication sector in general, where Google does reside. uh, Nice breakout overall in the communications sector. 52 was a pretty stiff resistance level. And now we got this nice daily close above it, and we're looking to push on higher. 54 is your next target, along with 56, which will be your next high to try to take care of. And that definitely helps when you have earnings report such as Netflix. I mean, Netflix has been on a nice little uptrend here overall. Ascending triangle breakout here. Just trying to break through 332. This was a gap fill on Netflix. So you can see here this gap here, no price here. We finally filled it all the way up. So this was prior support, turned resistance, couldn't get through it 2 weeks ago. Now we had a nice little gap and go on earnings, on good volume. And now, really, what's our upside target? Our next zone is going to be around 400. So, uh, looking good there on Netflix. So, if you were try to get in a position here, maybe buy a pullback. See if you can get as long as that 332, 333 level holds true. I think it's pretty good here for a slow grind up to 400. 400 won't come instantly, but it could definitely be worth a shot to try to put something to work there. But yeah, let's go to the Qs here. Nasdaq, I know, also looked like a little bit of an uh-oh situation where we lost the daily 50. It looked like we were just going to flush all the way back here to 260, but market bulls held together pretty well here. And Friday came along, good volume, good response here. They held the hourly structure. Like I said, good daily volume here, and we closed right back where we opened on that sell off on Wednesday. So we pretty much regained everything that we lost there. 283. You got a little bit of a gap fill to 286 here. That's going to be our next spot. Once we get above 286, yeah, 290 and then 295. And let's retest this level here at the upper and the daily 200. But yeah, if you're a market bear, uh, yeah, you want to be mindful of this 273 level. If you lose 273, yeah, same thing here. You could come all the way back to retest at 262.50. So you want to be mindful. Like I said, if this, then that, there's your levels. Break 283, look for 286 gap fill, 285, 286 gap fill. Above 286, you're looking for that 294, 295 zone to check in on that daily 200. Let's see here. Let's move on. Uh, yeah, IWM small caps, great hold here on the daily 200. Yeah, just overall pretty good stuff here on the small caps. Not really complaining too much here. Even on the pullback, it held very nicely. Now, this 190 level is going to be a little bit of a hairy situation. That's where the main resistance is going to be. Once you get above 190, quick move to 200. Yeah, it should come easy. 195 followed by 200. So watching IWM and small caps along with tech. And then we can check out the diamonds. Now, the diamonds was and it still is, technically speaking, uh, better looking than the SPY and the Qs. But the thing is with the diamonds is there's only 30 names in it. There's only 30 names in the Dow. It will underperform any kind of rally. We're going to see if we do get that push, that rally push, and if the bulls can hold their ground and push on higher, your Dow components will most likely lag here. So the Dow still looks good. Industrials, they still look fine, most definitely. But the Dow does have a little bit more of recovery to do to get itself back above the daily 50 here at about 335. But yeah, I just think it's going to lag in the event that things do get a nice little rally. Um, Bullish above 336, 337 to retest 343 and a half. Once you get above 343 and a half, 348. So we'll just stick to those clean levels there. You don't really want to lose 330, 329. Otherwise, we could see a retest of that daily 200 down at 323. I don't necessarily think it happens, but it's good to have those levels in mind, regardless, in case we do want to see things, in case we do need to, turn our cap around and, go bearish if push comes to shove. Morgan, you sold covered calls on Square. Okay, nice. So I'm pretty sure my shares are good as gone. Well, that's okay. You can just wheel it. Let's see, Rye Guy. Definitely check out the Wheel Gang channel. I mean, that thing is an amazing place to learn about the wheel strategy for sure. Rye Guy, that Google call would have been money of my initial order place. Oh no, your internet went down, so you kind of, well, at least you made 26% on that Google Play. Well, that's good. Green is green, my friend. Let's see here. Let's move on to China. We know that emerging markets and most notably here, China, is definitely holding up very well. Baba is currently wrestling with that 120 level. We're right at gap fill on that. I still have my KWeb position. I guess shares, options, the whole shebang there on KWeb, but definitely like the looks of KWeb, no doubt about that. Needed to clear this 96 level. We do have a zone here of consolidation between 36 and about 33. This is, generally kind of a slow mover, but mostly looking for this push up towards 39 and continue to make progress for that. So definitely watching KWeb. And like I said, other markets out there are looking pretty good. Canada, most notably here, you got this really nice inverse head and shoulders look to it. So break above 36. It looks like we are good to go here. You are trading above the daily 50. You had a nice close above its daily 200. Yeah, 35.50. Get above that. Then you're going to retest that neckline at 36. So Canada is looking pretty darn good. Germany, we always want to pay attention to what Germany is doing because they are the largest economy in Europe. But you had this nice little breakout move here above 28. 28, resistance, resistance, resistance. You finally broke above it. You had a little bit of a throwback here and you held pretty decently. So as long as Germany holds this, or the DAX does close above 28, should be pretty good here. But yeah, I would probably have stops around here if you're trying to be long on the DAX overall. But yeah, China looks good. Germany looks good. Canada looks pretty decent. Even France looks really good there. Let's see here. All right, yeah, decent throwback. Just trying to hold it, but a lot of European markets and emerging markets look fantastic, and that definitely helps with a falling dollar, acting as a tailwind. You boys like Mexico? Yeah. Yeah, as long as the US dollar is pushing to the downside, that will act as a tailwind. And, if bonds are continuing to push up, that's great for our markets too. But yeah, dollar here, bull trap still in play, squeeze to the downside. They tried to rally it, couldn't, flushed it, broke below this 103 mark. And, we talked about that, time and time again. If you zoom out to your monthly chart, you'll see that this is where we broke out originally, and you just pushed on right back down. And now we're really just kind of seeing if things kind of hold here at this 101 support. You can see during this overnight session that, things are pretty much right there. As long as, things can definitely continue to push to the downside. And if we lose this 101.40 level, yeah, things can continue to flush even to the 97.50 mark is what we would be looking at next. But, like I said, as the backdrop of everything, with the market, the dollar is flushing. That's a tailwind for risk on assets and emerging markets and commodities. So yeah, looking pretty good here. 101.40 to hold. If it doesn't hold, yeah, we're looking at a move to really about that 97.50 level here. That does coincide with that weekly 200, as well as this next support level here at about 97.68. So watching the dollar, see if it bounces. Let's move on to crude oil real quick, and we'll take a look at that. Looking pretty good here, a little bit sloppy during the overnight session, but that's all right. Futures are kind of flat anyway. It is trying to form a bottom. As you can see, you do have a little, here's your low, here's your higher low, and just trying to trade off of that here. Get above 82. You could argue that this is a little bit of a ascending triangle as well. Let's see here. As long as it, if we can get a break above 83 resistance, you're pretty much looking to get a decent little push up all the way up to about 90. So overall, bulls definitely have a chance to push this. And if we want to talk about energy, we like Oxy. Oxy, Uncle Buffett is in this name, but you had this nice little hold here off the daily 200, consolidating. Had a nice push on Thursday and Friday. Now we're seeing if we can get some follow through here at about that 67 level. Above 67, sure, looking at 70, and above 70, you're looking at a decent push to maybe highs there. We also like ZOM, Exxon Mobil here. Nice hold on the daily 50. It's right up here near all-time highs, or 52-week highs, at least 114.66 is your overhead resistance there. And we'll see if we can break out to the upside in general. Let's see here. Oh yeah, let's see. You could say CVX is also a good one on my radar as well. Above 180, 70-ish. Yeah, looking for a push to those all-time highs, or 52-week highs at 189, 68. Let's see. Natural gas. I'm not really interested in it. Natural gas continues to get walloped. No sign of a bounce at all there. Even on the weekly 200, this thing's just busted. Definitely not going to focus too much attention on natural gas. Copper continues to rip. We had this nice push above 4. This was a clean push here, and we've seen it with names such as Southern Copper and FCX. FCX does have earnings this week, but yeah, these copper names, they've been on our, just been absolutely rip roar. We've had guys in Southern Copper who have just made whopping out of it. But here, I wouldn't feel comfortable buying here. I want to see this consolidation occur, and then I want to see things hold, and then maybe even push up back into the highs there at 79. Same thing with FCX, not as impressive as SCCO, but still a very good, clean breakout chart here. You had nice consolidation between 40 and 37. Off you went. You took on these guys at about the 44 level, and then off you kind of went. And if things do pretty good for earnings, maybe we'll see a move to the highs there at about 52. So we'll see on FCX. Let's see here. Let's see. There's Nat Gas. There's copper. We talked about Bitcoin. As far as our overall thoughts, we still have liquidity issues within the market. There's still a lot of sideline cash, banks, hedge funds, leverage funds. They're all keeping cash on the sideline. Bonds. It's hard to go risk on assets if you have a backdrop of like a guaranteed 4.8% on a bond. So still dealing with the liquidity issue. We know that. We know the Fed is tightening their balance sheet. They're reducing their balance sheet. We know not to fight the Fed. So yeah, we're at this very interesting conjuncture where we're at this really, really interesting spot as far as the technicals go, with the backdrop of earnings and a whole lot of uh, economic data to get into. And they're already talking about the Fed rates. Maybe we'll do 20, most likely 25 basis point the following week. We got the FOMC meeting, so that is definitely something to pay attention to. But there's a lot of stuff behind the curtain that look really good. Like we've talked about the XLC. A lot of these bottom of the barrel names are forming bottoms and or showing signs of bottoming and trying to consolidate and push their way uh, to the upside. So as far as everything on my watch list, most definitely, I know you just asked about it, but CRM looks fantastic. This one was on my radar last week. It's going to remain on my radar this week. You had this nice breakout above the consolidation of 149.82, and a lot of air up until about this 160. So you got a decent little 10-point push here, possibility all the way up to 160. That's the daily 200, as well as the next price resistance zone here on the CRM. So definitely keeping my eye on CRM if I can't get into a pretty good position, especially if we have some follow through tomorrow. I would love to get into that and push on up with it. Let's see. I like NVIDIA. I definitely want to be long on options on semiconductors, SMH most notably, just by the ETF call contracts there, or just you could go shares with SOX L. But yeah, Nvidia looks great. Looking for some continuation above 178. You had a very impressive run last week. Slight pullback to retest that 167 level, and you just blasted off there on Nvidia. So Nvidia definitely on my watch going on to the next week, above 178. Really looking for a push all the way back up to about 188, 190. So we'll see if we can get a piece of that. Amazon, there was a lot of call buying into the 100 contracts. Had a pretty good day on Friday as well. Would like to see more volume come in, of course, but a little bit lackluster on the volume. But if we do get a decent rally, names such as a lot of these tech names are going to be outperformers. So I definitely want to pay attention to Amazon here. Like I said, there was a lot of call buying into the 100 contracts. You need to kind of clear this 99 level and push towards 103. Google, we already talked about amazing hold. We talked about our energy guys, Oxy, Zom, CVX. I like Square, of course. Nice consolidation, looking to break through. It's holding the daily 200, looking for a push towards 90. If things do go to backside, back down, and we try to turn bearish, I want to pay attention to in phase. In phase definitely beat up, definitely not performing with the rest of the market. It is right here, uh, at this prior support, well, resistance, turn support, resistance, 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 gap up on earnings. Boom, there you go. Kind of came back into it, support, and off you went. Now you're back at it. So we'll see if this 220 zone holds or if we do get some kind of flush. If we do get some kind of flush, looking for a move all the way back down to at least 180, 170 level. So if the markets do want to take a little bit on the chin, definitely want to pay attention to end phase. End phase just, not really having it, especially when you have names like FSLR, who's, had this really big push into new all-time highs at 185. Now you're getting a little bit of a throwback, trying to hold its daily 50 here. So, clean energy names, pretty interesting spot. But yeah, in phase to the downside. Yeah, definitely has that potential to push on down. Let's see here. Baba, of course, going to be watching Baba to see if we can get a move above 120. Let's see. Let's see. Pfizer. Pfizer looks weak. As far as your healthcare names, your XLP guys, those are all defensive names. Granted, they could still move if we, don't get a good rally. Maybe we get some rotation back into defensive names. Um, if we do, rally healthcare names, they're not going to be as impressive. They could still move, but they're not going to be as impressive. Pfizer here, it's kind of beat up here. It's kind of sideways, kind of ugly here. I don't really see much to get long in on. We could probably go zoom out to a weekly chart. Yeah, even this is pretty weak sideways action here. I lost my education there. We don't have a lot of trending action. This is very sideways, very noisy. I don't see an advantage personally for me here, so I'm just going to stay out of Pfizer altogether. Silver. If you need levels, let me know. But it's kind of messy. It is messy. I would have to zoom out here. Maybe the weekly 200 down here, 4140 at support. You do have earnings coming up. It looks like 4150 as support, and your resistance all the way up 54. You're kind of in the middle of it. Just messy overall. SLV silver. Now this one I don't really mess too much when it comes to silver and gold. Stock shaman, I know you're gonna say it. We don't mess with gold. No, 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 no. Let's see. Silver, nice little zone here between 2250 and about 21. Nice little Darvis box that you're kind of working with. Above 2250, sure. You could get a move all the way up to these highs over at 24. If you lose this bottom channel here at 2130, where this daily 50 is creeping back on up to, so you don't want to lose that 2130. Got like a tickle in the back of my throat. It keeps kind of randomly coming up. I'm gonna take a swig of water. Tickle, tickle. So on silver below 2127, you lose that. Look for support down here at about that 20 mark. Above 2250, yeah, looking for 24, 25 on SLV. So silver, yeah, it looks good. You got this nice trading range that you can work with. Above that 2250, you're good. Bullish. Below 2130, you're looking a little bit bearish there. So nice clean levels. I like it when I can look at a chart and I can see what's kind of going on and determine what we are looking at. But for the most part, yeah, you're above the main moving averages. The 50's pushing up. The 200 is relatively flat. It will take some time for that to curl on up. But overall, a little bit, I'd say I'm probably leaning a little bit more bullish there than I am bearish. But we'll see. Have your levels there and play it as it works out. What are my thoughts on XLK? And okay, hold on, I got some more names. Let me scroll up here. I'm getting there. EFX. I haven't heard of this one. Equifax. Hello, Equifax. Yeah, this looks great. It reminds me. Let me go to FICO. That's right. Bear Isaac core. Look at this move in comparison to Equifax there. Nice little breakout on this Darvis box. 580, 640. Man, off you go on FICO. Looks like you can get some big move here, maybe even to 700. I would have to do some fib targets here. Sure, we can do those now. I know this isn't the one that you requested, but we're looking at this right now. Yeah, 700 is going to be your overall target there on FICO. Yeah, with all these credit situations that we're kind of dealing with. Chart broke, or is it just you? I think it might be just you. Someone can confirm. I look good over here on my end, at least. But yeah, FICO 700 overall target. Let's go over to EFX Equifax. Same thing. Look at this. You're at this nice little, well, wrong drawing tool. But, all right, right at resistance 223. Hang on one second. I already had to get that out. Yeah. So 220. That's funny. Call of Duty using all your bandwidth. 223 is the resistance level here on Equifax. You had this nice little consolidation level break here as well, between 210 and 190. Off you go. And yeah, no, I think your upper head resistance here is going to be about that 240, 245 level. Looks very clean. Just got to clear this 223. Maybe if you get a throwback, we'll see if this 210 zone holds. And there you go to the upside. Could be a Discord issue too. Let's see. But yeah, overall, looking good on Equifax. I like that one. Thanks for sharing. Definitely reminded me of FICO there. Both FICO and Equifax, they look great. All right, let's see. Equifax. Next up is Roku. Roku, like I said, a lot of these bottom of the barrel names are looking pretty good. You have this nice tradable low here down at the 39.40 mark. You can see I got a bunch of lines going on, so I apologize for the noise here. Yeah, looking for continuation up to about that 56 as long as it holds this daily 50. If you do get a close below last week's lows, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So if you get a close below this, here, let's clean up some of these levels here. We can keep that one, I think. Let's get rid of that. We'll keep those. So as far as Roku goes, you don't want to see it close below the daily 50 or this 49 mark or last week's lows. If you do see that happen, you could easily get a good flush here. Watch your volume. Not a whole lot of excitement there. I think is Kathy Wood still buying Roku? I know she's been buying up a lot of Tesla. I know that. Let's see. But yeah, I like it above for continuation to push towards 58, 68 in the 62 zone. So this is my upward zone here on Roku. And then if you lose this, look out below for sure there on Roku. Let's see. What are my thoughts on the XLK and in particular Adobe? So let's take a peek at the XLK in general. We know the XLK, this is going to look just like your cues here. XLK, nice push. Back above its daily 50. You're right up here at your daily 200. We got Microsoft earnings. Microsoft is one of the largest holdings in the XLK next to Apple. Those two are the heaviest weighted in the XLK sector. So whatever happens with Microsoft earnings is going to be reflected within the XLK. That being said, you still have this tradable low. Here's your low, higher low, higher low. And you actually held this nice consolidation area at 120 and breaking out. Got back above the daily 50. Now you're looking to come on back and retest these highs here at about 137 level. Here is what I would be looking at, especially if you can get a break above the daily 200 at about 133 and a half, 134. You don't want to lose Friday's low at 127, but a lot of it's going to be determined on how Microsoft performs and reacts to their earnings after the bell on Tuesday. What was your Adobe? I like Adobe. I like Adobe as well. Like I said, a lot of these bottom of the barrel names, they look great. They're beat up. They're beat up to a pulp. They've been heavily shorted. Nice consolidation. This one's kind of quiet name. You don't see Adobe getting tossed around a whole lot. Uh, it is. It's definitely a lagging name, but tech in general is lagging. And if you can get this push, I like this break above this 354.50 mark. I mean, you got gap fill to about 368, which resides also with this daily 200. So you got this nice confluence level here to kind of work with. But once you break this, I mean, your next spot is obviously you're going to take on 400. That's going to be a psychological move, and then once you break 400, you're all the way back up here at 450. So things can get pretty spunky with Adobe. You know, here's your ascending triangle, just trying to break out. Good consolidation here. I'm sorry, I got all these yellow lines. I'm sure that's hard to see, but if you zoom, let me zoom in at least. Yeah, you can see a little bit better here. Nice consolidation between these two zones. You got this nice little breakout daily close here. We'll see if we get that follow through tomorrow. Looking for that push towards 365. That is gap fill along with the daily 200. Once you get above 365, I mean, what's there to talk about other than 400 on that? So yeah, Roku, excuse me, yeah, Adobe, Roku, Square, all these guys, they look great. Even I even touch base CRM looks good. Let's see, Squeeze looks like, yeah, I totally agree. Bose, Myrna, yeah, Moderna, interesting spot here. Definitely try to get this push at the beginning of the week above 200. It, we tried to. It was on our watch list. We didn't really play it, but you had this nice move towards 210. Just kind of faded the move. They said that their COVID vaccine is going to jump up to $130 per shot now. It's pretty wild. So holding the daily 50 here, like I said, XLV and Dow components. I think these guys might lag. If we do see some kind of rally within tech, we're going to see some of that rotation happen. But for the most part, it is holding. We could continue to monitor it, especially if we do get another stab at 200. Above 200, I like it for a push up to about 217, 220. But if we lose this daily 50, I'm not as interested in it at all. So sure, we could see it. IIPR. IIPR. What is this? Innovative Industrial Property. Oof. What you want to see. So if anything, I'm looking to short. Let's see. Above, yeah, below. There you go. Below this low at 87.50. Looking pretty nasty. I'd need to see it get back above 125 resistance here. As you can see, ag support, now resistance at the daily 200. Gap down on something, I'm assuming news there. But yeah, if you lose this 87.50, let's see, where are we leading here? Let me go out to a weekly chart and get rid of these lines so I don't confuse everybody. 60 looks like a good bet there to the downside. You could also do a fib extension if we want it. Get some targets, not right there. Yeah, there we go. To the downside. Yeah, 60 and then 50. 50 for your overall target there. If you get a breakdown here of this 89.50, whatever level that was. Yeah, 87.50. Looks pretty sus, if I say so. Suspect there on IIPR. You could try to nibble here if you're bullish on it. I don't know what the fundamentals are by any means, but just looking at the technicals, if you lose this, it's you could get a pretty big flush here. Big volume. Look at these volume spikes too. Not much buying. Not too sure what's going on here, but you lose it. Looks pretty gross. If you hold it, sure, you could try to play the bounce, but I'm not holding my breath too terribly much there. It all depends on your risk, what you want to do here and what you're thinking. You could try to play the bounce, or you can play the breakout. I mean, those are your options there. You bounce or break out. Are you a bull or a bear there? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. COD using all. Who's playing Call of Duty? Oracle. Yeah, dude, Oracle's been an absolutely Oracle, beautiful. I mean, there's nothing to complain about as far as Oracle goes at this time. Nice uptrend. You're above the main moving averages. The daily 50s curling up. The daily 200 looks like it's starting to wanting to do something. You got this nice little consolidation break above 84.50. You push on up towards 90. I mean, there's not a whole lot to complain. Now, if you're already long, just go ahead and move your, move your stops as you go. But if you're looking to get in, let's go out to a weekly chart here. If you're looking to get in, what I might, or what you could do here is play this break above 89.50 or 90 and just see if you can continue to push on higher up to 95. 100 is, of course, going to be uh, a psychological number there for Oracle, but all in all, I mean, this is a really, really good move. You had this push all the way down to the weekly 200 even and held, and this is pretty much outperforming the S&P 500. So Oracle, great name overall. So yeah, yeah, good job if you're long Oracle. I know Penny is loving Oracle. Uh, is the sub is the sub volume on Equifax any concern? Eh, not really. I mean, you had a great volume here on Thursday, and now you're just sure. I mean, you could watch it, but as far as everything goes, I mean, looks great. I would like to sure you could look for some above average volume, but even here during your consolidation period, look at these volume spikes, followed by lower volume on the pullbacks, big volume spike right here, and but you've held, and now you're off to the races. So sure, you could look for big volume, but you don't necessarily need big volume to break out. It's just one of those things. So yeah, I like this on Equifax for sure. Would you hesitate at all on Adobe because of Microsoft earnings? I'm not a fundamentalist, not really. I play the charts based off the price action. I listen to what price tells me. Now, I mean, we even see what we saw with Netflix earnings. I mean, throw the logic out the window. The only thing that Netflix, only thing I say that in quotes, uh, get hate mail off that. But the thing with Netflix, they had great user growth, much better uh, users than expected. Revenue down, everything missed earning EPS, missed revenue. You would think it's die down on Netflix, which sure it could still obviously kind of come down, but uh, it doesn't matter what I think or what anybody else thinks. I mean, price tells me that this thing wants to move higher. So, even if Microsoft laid off 10,000 workers, they're moving more towards AI. They even got a downgrade and they held. They held, they keep moving up. So, I mean, what do I know? Yeah, Adobe could just continue on. I'll play the price action, if anything. Ligma, nice try, Shaman. Nice try. T has a shot. The thing with T, um, you need time. You have earnings this week. Just be mindful of that. It doesn't look like it wants to do anything until after earnings. I'm not too comfortable with it. For all I know, uh, yeah, it's just sideways until we get some kind of movement above 1950, 1950, or you break the daily 200 and flush. But yeah, with earnings this week, they have earnings on Wednesday before the bell. Just a heads up there. It just doesn't look like it wants to move, and I think you're going to need more time on it. So if you want to remain bullish, I would just say roll it out, or if you can, just I would even just sell covered calls or get you a spread going there. Well, T's probably not a good one to spread, to be honest with you. It's low beta. Why would a weekly on an auction be all the way out to February? Some names only have monthly options. So if they have only the February 17th, they just operate on monthly options. It's all about supply and demand as far as that goes. Apple weekly options. Of course, Spy has zero DTE every single day now. uh, you got more demand for those products. Which ones? The weeklies? The longer dated are better. You get more time. You get more time to help out with theta, and you can just mainly deal with the I say that quote unquote because there's a lot of stuff you got to deal with when it comes to options. But when you get longer dated options, you mainly need to be focused on the directional movement of the underlying. Whereas when you play zero DTE, you got to worry about theta, you got to worry about the underlying, you got to worry about volatility. So the longer out that you can get, I always preach it. If you can get time, always grab time. Don't play weeklies. If you have a small account, definitely don't play weeklies. Um, try to get longer dated calls. Build up your account until you can start maybe messing around with some risk. But I think it's much better to get that time, uh, get away from implied volatility, get away from those heavier theta decaying options, such as the weeklies and zero DTE, because you have a few penny movements in the opposite direction. You're going to need twice as much movement in the right direction to even recover your losses, not to mention any kind of gains that you may be looking at getting. So it's always better to get time. What would I consider a small account under 5K? Anything under 5K, small account. Yeah, if you have 100, I wouldn't. You need to build your account. Focus on patience, working out your sure. Yeah, it's still possible. You definitely just don't need to play names like Apple, Tesla, any of the volatile names. Stay away from AMC. Uh, it is possible though. It is. I've seen people do it. Is you just got to be really picky, and you take those base hits when you get them. As soon as you see like however whatever your risk profile is, 10%, you take it. 20%, take it. You don't shoot for grand slams, YOLO, 100% or nothing. You have to be very diligent and patient because it's hard to build up a $100 account. You have to be extremely patient and be okay with, hey, I made $5. Hey, I made $3 until you build up. Might take a few months, of course, but as you build it up, then you can expose yourself to more risk, et cetera, et cetera. As long as you stick to the principles that you have laid out in your trading plan, and where your stops need to be, and your risk profile. So yeah, absolutely no YOLO. If you're YOLOing, you're gonna get clapped. Guaranteed clappage. What would be a good trading plan? You can DM. We can get. It all depends. There's a lot of factors that go into that. And if anybody wants to share their trading plan, they can share it with you as well. But I can also, yeah, go through the Stock Dads Academy. Thank you, Shaman. Thank you, Double D. Yeah, go through the Stock Dads Academy. Yeah, we have 5 videos on how to develop a trading plan. Yeah, Maria, no YOLO, no matter how much money you have. That's a fair point. All right, so in conclusion, let's kind of wrap this up. We are at an hour. So did San Francisco won? Spoiler alert. Let's see. SPY above 400, 397, 400, 400 to 410. Once you get above 410, that's your new weekly high. You don't want to see a move below Friday's low, in my opinion. You lose the daily 50 and you lose those lows. We could see a move back on down. Tons and tons of stuff this week. Earnings, economic data, should be a lot of fun. Should be a lot of fun. Any questions, comments, concerns? It will not be fun. It will be fun. We'll like it. We'll take it and we'll like it. All right. Anybody on YouTube, Facebook? Insta? All right. Yeah. Yeah. Be patient. You don't have to trade. There's a lot of stuff going on this week. Stick to your risk management. Know your levels. Know when you're right. Know when you're wrong, especially when you're wrong. Practice good risk management. If you're in the Discord, I have that right up on risk management and your stops and stuff like that. So be sure to relook that over if you need to. But yeah, Thursday, big day. Tuesday, big day. Wednesday, big day. Should be fun. All right, I'll send you guys my notes if you're in the Discord. I'll have those out for you so you can have them for reference. And if you want to go over anything, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. DMs are always open. Guys on social media, you can feel free to reach out. My email is fuzz@stockdads.com. And yeah, have a good rest of your evening. I'll see you guys in the morning for live trading in the Discord, of course, and we'll get at it. I'll post my notes and my watch list for tomorrow as well. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your evening. I'll see you guys in the morning. Take care. You bet. Have a good one.